It's, as we say, it's a preliminary practice. So it comes before something. But if it is your first time, don't feel pressure to do anything. Feel comfortable, okay? That's the most important thing. The Buddha would not be wanting any of you to feel that you need to do something because someone with a shaved hair, with weird clothes are telling you to do. So please don't do that, okay? But I will explain what it means, and then if you feel like doing, then you can do it. So prostrations means that we are using our body, our speech, and our mind. We are prostrating with the three of them. Even though outside we only see normally the body going into the floor, but actually the mind is prostrating, right? What it means prostration, I don't know if it is actually a word that we use in English on a daily life. No, I don't think we use on a daily life. So, oh yeah, you prostrated today or something like that. No, I don't think we do, right? I don't think in any language we use that word. But prostration means actually it's a sign or it's an exercise, body, speech, and mind, an activity that we use in order to remind ourselves of our own potential. So it's kind of like a way of going home. That's what we are going. We are going home. We are going to our most beautiful, most kind, most loving heart, mind, whatever you want to call, soul, whatever it works for you. So that's what we are trying to do. Please come, please come. So what we're going to do is that this idea of prostrating is that we are prostrating to the Buddha, we are prostrating to these beautiful images, but what they actually symbolize is that our own potential, our own goodness, our own potential to completely be a Buddha. And what a Buddha is someone just like us, not a god, not someone out there gumming and bringing us whatever we need. No, it's the potential that we have to actually develop our heart in an unconditional and unlimited way. And not only this, but we can also completely eliminate our mental suffering. I think we all know what is that, no? Our mental suffering. We all recognize sometimes our anxiety, our fear, our anger, all those things. Oh, we can let it go. So when we are doing prostrations, we are doing with our body, speech, and mind as a sign of humbleness to say, look, actually thinking about it, I do need help to control my mind, to open my heart. So yes, for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all these beings like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, like Lama Zopa, like Lama Yeshe, even if you have not met them, but beings that you know that they have only one wish to help us. So we can ask them, you can ask, if you are a Christian, if you want to think about Jesus, think about Jesus. Yes, please. Jesus, Buddha, nothing different. Just different manifestation, right? Of the same wish to help us. And that's why all of us here, we can be the same. We are just different manifestations, right? So when we do it, we are doing with this intention to benefit others, right? So we're going to use our body, speech, and mind. So we are preparing our body, speech, and mind to sit down, and then we're going to meditate. We're going to talk. Today, I'm going to make you guys debate and chat with yourselves, okay? So we're going to do all of these activities with that intention. So we prepare the body, the speech, and the mind. So when we're going to do the prostrations, we're going to do the 5 points. So that means we're going to touch our knees, our hands, and our forehead on the floor. But before that, we're going to touch what we call our crown chakra here. Okay? And here it symbolizes that we want to actually develop all the good qualities. And our hands, we do it instead of just doing like this, like prayer hands, we do it a little bit different because we tuck in our thumbs, symbolizing the union of compassion and of wisdom. Because compassion just, I'm sorry, the word stupid compassion doesn't change much the world. Not also just blind faith or no coming from wisdom. So we do it like this. And it's almost like we are holding something precious. You understand? That's the idea. And these precious thing that we have in our hand, that's our potential. Because compassion and wisdom makes us develop our heart and transform our mind. So when we do it, so we are putting here our precious potential and saying, may I have all the qualities. May I purify all my, may I purify all my actions of body. May I purify, may I clean, may I stop creating negative karma with my speech, saying bad things to people, hurting people with my words. And may I be able to completely transform my mind. Okay, sorry, I did it like this. You didn't, guys, you didn't see. So we touch like this, our head. So may I have all the good qualities. May I be able to completely purify and stop doing actions that hurt others. May I stop hurting others with my speech. And may I be able to completely transform my mind. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to chant that mantra over there behind the door for those that would like to. But if you want, you can just think about what I just said. You know, may I have all the qualities. May I transform my body, my speech, and my mind. And for those that are a little bit more connected with the Buddhist path, and you can visualize the Buddhas in front of you, the Buddha Shakyamuni, you can visualize your teachers, all those beings that before us for 2,600 years have been just wanting to benefit others. And as I said, if you're a Christian, you can see God. If you are Jewish, you can see whatever in Jewish it means to you. Whatever your religion is, here is to connect you with something that is bigger than just yourself. Something that it's going to humble you and help you on your path. And then we can do the mantra. Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Su Shri Namo Tama Shri Soha. Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Su Shri Namo Tama Shri Soha. Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Su Shri Namo Tama Shri Soha. Oh yeah. You see over there? Yes. All right. Welcome, everybody. Very good to see you all here. Familiar faces, new faces. Who is here first time? Yes, yes. Oh, very good. First time ago. Very nice. So so these talks normally I've been, because I don't know much about Buddhism, so I cannot, I need to learn something. So there is a very nice book that we use called How Freedom Through Understanding. So it's a book from our teachers, Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And so I'm based on that. These are the talks. So you guys need to know that I don't know much. So I'm just here like a parrot repeating what they said. Much better. But if you want to read the book, I don't know if we still have some books over there. Maybe not. Maybe we can check if we have it, and then you can bring home and read it. It's definitely worth it. And today we are getting to the end. Actually, I was thinking about next Sunday is the last Sunday already. Yeah, because the following one, Geshe-la is going to be here, so we're going to be filling the statues. Very good. Yeah, wow. But time passes very fast. So that is something that is very, a very understanding of the Buddhist path, which is that time goes by, it doesn't stop. So whatever we are doing here today, because we decided to use our time to come here, we decided to leave our houses, leave whatever we were doing, sometimes, even family, wife, we even decided to come, or our pet, we left our dog at home. So at least that what we decided to do here needs to be positive. It needs to be something beneficial, right? And that is one of the things that in Buddhism is so important, which is the motivation. Because the motivation, it is what is going to create the result. That is so important. Because we don't understand that in our daily lives because we're not aware. We are just doing things in a very automatic way and we don't think about it, the result. We're just wanting the result that we created in our minds of what we want to get. Normally, they are very short term and very small, narrow result, which means I'm hungry, I just want to eat. Boom. Right? That is normally what we think. Sometimes we need to think about long term and we need to think about plans and things that we need to do in our lives. And then we start to think a little bit more long term. But the problem is that normally the way we think about these things, they are a little bit, how can I say, confused. It's not really what Buddhism would say according to reality. Very big word, reality. We talk so much about it, but what does it mean? Well, what that is the path of Buddhism. The path of Buddhism try to understand reality. Reality is not something that it was invented by Jesus or by God or by Buddha. They are just here showing us reality. So the Buddhist path is not a path that is inventing things or bringing new things. It's just a path that shows you how to observe reality. Like, for example, if someone says to you, if I drop something like that, and someone says, oh, this is called gravity. So it's a way to observe. And someone, no, like a very, very important person decided to observe and to make a law out of it. And now we all understand that there is something called gravity. It's kind of like that. The Buddha was just knowing and understanding the natural law of things. And one of them is what I just said about impermanence. Things change. And that is the problem when we are on our daily lives, is that we don't think about that. So when we are going to make a decision, what we do in our automatic way, we don't think about change. We think that if we go from here to there, I just need to do that. So many things can change between here and there. So that is something that is just a way of understanding the Buddhist path. And that's why we say that bringing these understandings, especially to our motivation, to our intention, will change the result. Make sense so far? Yes? Changing the intention changes the result. Sounds simple, right? So for that, we need to then analyze the intention. We need to check our intention. And that's when it starts to become a little bit more complicated. Because that means that we need to look inside of ourselves. Because motivation is not something that is outside. It's not an outside action. Motivation is an inner. It's something that happens in your mind. It's something that happens with your heart. So we can't. We still don't have it. How do you say that thing? Microscope to see what is going on in the minds of others. So who is the boss? Us. We are the boss of our intention. We are the boss of our um, motivation. And that is hard. That is statement to understand that we are the ones creating the result of our lives. Wow, that is quite difficult. Because right now, I don't know you, but me, my automatic way of thinking is, well, if I am sad, it's the blame of others. If I am happy, it's all me. So that starts to think, oh, is it true? Is it really like that? So the motivation, checking our motivation means check, what are you actually thinking? Check where you actually want to accomplish. Check the result that you want. And that is hard. Because the same way that we are used to look for things outside, we don't want to look for the results. Because then it's going to be a lot of work. Because we're going to understand that we need to do the work. We need to change. And change, even though is the law, the nature law, the law of nature, we don't want to change. That is very, very funny, isn't it? Like, I have one teacher that he's always talking about that the reason why cosmetics and all of that, and beauty products, all of these, what they work with is that idea of permanence, of not wanting to change. If you put this cream, you're gonna continue with your skin exactly like the same. If you do this, if you do that, you're gonna continue the same. You're gonna continue the same. You're not gonna age. You're not gonna age. You're not gonna really. If we observe the nature, if you observe the law of life, we all know here someone that has died. We all know here that we eventually also going to die. Do we live from that understanding? Do we actually put that as our motivation for checking and for doing things in our lives? I don't know. I'm here to make you more confused. I'm not here to give you answers, but to give you more confused, but in a good way. In a way that this confusion, we always say in Buddhism, we say that we have three types of doubt, and doubt is very important, right? Maybe I don't know if you guys already studied, like what we call mind and mental factors and the types of awareness. It's very, especially in this tradition, can be extremely um, academical, right? Tibetans especially love divisions and lists and classifications and definitions and all of that. So it's a very interesting thing. But one of the things that we say is that doubt, doubting is something quite good. But we have three types of doubt in Buddhism. We say a doubt that is going to the wrong conclusion, a doubt that is neutral, and a doubt that is going to a positive or a correct. So, for example, we can think, oh, maybe I'm going to die. Nah, I'm not going to die, right? That is doubt tending to the wrong conclusion. Maybe you say, maybe I'm dying. Maybe I'm going to die. And you don't get any conclusion. Just stay there in that doubt. And maybe you say, huh, maybe I am going to die. Yes, I think I might go to die. And you stay with that. So that is the type of doubt that I want to create in you. That is the type of doubt that we can all develop, that we can all actually realize that will bring us to transform our intention. And then from transforming our intention, we'll transform our result. Okay? So everything is connected. Everything makes sense in the Buddhist path. You just need to understand it. So for that, let's then create a motivation. Let's try to find and analyze our motivation for being here. Let's doubt it. Okay? So just for a few moments, I invite you to just think about. Well, first, just if you want to find a posture that will make you contemplate better, that makes you feel comfortable, the body is relaxed, but not too relaxed that we are falling asleep. Then we start to just check in with ourselves. If someone would ask you, well, I'm going to ask you, how are you tonight, today? How are you now? How are you? How are you? How are you? And just try to check whatever comes. And then you can ask yourself, okay, if I don't have to answer out loud, how am I doing? How would I actually answer? Am I really checking how I'm doing, or I'm just wanting to say that everything is okay, everything is good, perfect? And even if things are not that good, or if things are okay, so then why are we here? Why did you decide to come here today? And if you can, try to doubt whatever your mind is saying and try to say, is really this the issue? Is really this the motivation? Or maybe there's something else, something a little bit deeper, something I'm afraid of seeing, or something that I don't like to. Or maybe you're very okay with your motivation, and that's also great. Everything is okay. Whatever it is, the mind that we are having right now, it's a mind that is based in this wish that we all share and we all have, an underlying natural type of wish, a wish to find lasting happiness, to find a happiness that is always there, and to be free from our discomfort and our pain and our suffering. That's why we wake up every day. Don't want to suffer. We want to be happy. That's what we need to check, if what we are doing in our lives is bringing us closer to this happiness or not. And once we achieve that happiness and that freedom from suffering, then we can show the way to others to do the same. So we can create an intention that whatever we hear, whatever we say, whatever we contemplate, whatever we meditate today during this fast together, may we be able to create the necessary causes or the transformations in order to find that lasting happiness that we wish. And in this way, we are not only benefiting ourselves, but we can help others to do the same. We also benefit others. So we can motivate like that. Okay, we can stop. So, from this motivation, I ask, what is happiness? The question for $1 million. What is happiness? Anyone? Yes.
Attaining enlightenment. Bit of other things.
That sounds like a very correct answer. But that's it really? Like, is it really that happiness? What happiness really is? Yes. And I can have the right attitude from inside. What do you mean by right attitude?
Yeah. Positive.
Positive attitude. Accepting attitude. Okay. Beautiful.
Passion.
Compassionate attitude. Okay. Brings happiness. Compassionate brings happiness. Yes. Yes, please. Huh? Yes.
I think happiness is basically the product of living in the right way that uplifts people, is good to yourself and to others, and doesn't harm. Right. So,
very, very beautiful. Yes, very nice. Very good. Yeah.
Good health.
Good health. Yes, definitely brings happiness.
It's interesting. I think we always think about it as the result.
Yeah.
I could define so many things, but I never thought for some reason definition of happiness isn't coming to mind. But
Yes.
I guess the best I could think of right now is a state of mind free of suffering.
Definitely. Very good. Yes. Yes. There's a very special book from one monk, French monk called Mathieu Ricard. And he's a scientist. And his name is Mathieu Ricard. Mathieu Ricard. He's a French monk.
Oh, okay.
He's a French monk who wrote this book, like a big book, I think it's like 400 or 500 pages on happiness. And he goes scientifically explaining as well, you know, because happiness, as we heard here, the different components, right? One of them is our body. There is a component of the body that can bring happiness. There's a component of the mind, of the intention, the way we live with compassion. You wanted to say something about?
I think there's inner happiness and outer happiness.
But then my question to you is, very good, because that is going to be the link for where I want to go. So I'm going to use you. Does outer happiness, is it really happiness?
The mind of the individual that's experiencing it, yet may not be for me.
So what is the difference between the outer and the inner?
For me, the distinction is the outer very often can be a fleeting moment, whereas the inner has real personal substance.
So if I hear what you're saying, the outer happiness, it's a temporary one. It's a, yeah, it's something that is not gonna stay.
But you have to work really hard.
So you need to keep eating chocolate to be happy, right?
a wonderful memory of what it tastes like.
What it tastes like, right? Ah, yes. Okay.
But for someone else,
Yes,
that same happiness is not eating chocolate.
it's not eating chocolate. It's
because
eating ice
it's
cream.
healthy for your body because the sugar is not good for your
Yes.
body, so there's a more
Yes.
lasting.
Yes, 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 yes. Very good. Very, very good. Yes?
I believe there's external validation and internal validation. And so a good example is the Olympics. Someone can be on the podium with the gold medal, and inside they still feel not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person can be there with a bronze medal
Yes.
and feel internal validation and joy, and that's more permanent.
Okay. So you think that happiness has a sense of validation. Okay. Okay. Fulfillment would be a good word to describe that. Like, oh, even though I got the bronze medal, I'm feeling fulfilled. I feel, no, fulfilled means nothing is missing in that moment. But then my question is, does it actually stay? Or next Olympic, I want to feel that again. Or the next piece of chocolate, I want to try it again to see if it's there. If you think about it, I don't know who of you here has tried drugs, but that's what drugs does, no? You take the first one and then you just want to go back to that feeling again, the kick. A little bit like coffee, when you wake up and you want some coffee, just need that coffee kick, or that matcha for those that drink matcha or green tea or something like this. Yes, dear.
It's like everything works like that, whether it's chocolate, coffee, shopping, sex, time with people,
Yes.
Professional affirmation.
Yes.
You have that moment, but then
Yes.
you need to start all over. again.
Yes.
It's just like bam.
Yes. Very good. So my question to you, is that happiness? Is that the only or the happiness that we want to achieve in this life?
I think it's contentment.
Yes,
I watch my
contentment's a
cat,
very good
and my
word.
cat won't go outside, but he's just content.
Content.
It's just amazing. I mean, I'm learning from him.
Until he gets hungry. Until he gets hungry, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, because in Buddhism we talk about happiness as the idea that we all want to be happy. But what are we actually wanting? Do we actually want to just keep going into this rat race? Is that what we are, is our potential as being human beings? No, because otherwise we could be like the cat. No, it would be easier or better sometimes. Because some people, I don't know you, but like some people, like my godmother, she has 2 dogs that I always say, wow, these 2 dogs are so lucky because she treats them like, the best food. They have even you think to cut the nails and things like that. I never did my nails in my life, If you think about it, so what is the difference between ourselves and animals if we are just doing the same? What there is in our existence that can make us actually more? That's what, yeah. There's someone online?
Yeah.
Yes, Hernani.
Yes. Good morning. I think happiness would be for one to feel satisfied with whatever you have, whatever you are, whatever the situation is, without seeking for anything else.
So then why would I wake up in the morning? Why would I do this or that? Why I would work? Why would I, want to go to, in my case, go to see His Holiness the Dalai Lama? Why? If I'm content with everything.
It's not about us, about others.
Hernani, do you want to answer that?
Well, because there's still afflictions and suffering inside, but behind that there is a happiness that is everlasting.
Now we are starting to smell it. That is actually the point of understanding in Buddhism that is so special for me, because it's not granted. Is not, I'm not here sitting here to tell you how to live your life. I'm here to say to you, the Buddha found different methods, different paths, let's say like that. Even though it's one path, but different ways to achieve one thing. Yes, enlightenment, like he said. But what that means? Enlightenment means we can have two types of happiness. Right now, we only know one, and you all described it very well. The rat race. That is our happiness. That is what we call happiness, right? If we think about it, I'm here gonna be a bit cheeky. The American dream is based on that, no? What is the American dream? House, car, good days, a family, all of that, health and all of these. As long as I have these things, I'm happy. I'm living the dream. But these all falls apart. It's gonna fall apart externally because you can have a crisis, you can have a hurricane, your partner can leave you, you can become sick. All of these things. That's not what the Buddha was saying. The Buddha, the story of the Buddha is quite beautiful if you think about it, because he went, he was this prince, and then he went out and he started to see people getting sick, people getting old, people dying. And then he said, must have something else than just what I am experiencing. He was this prince with everything. They had all of the food. Aladdin, that movie Aladdin, like that, like full of stuff and all of these. And I don't know if he has the genie, to make his desire, but maybe, he had everything. And he said, well, I am still not happy. Has to have something else. And then he realized that the happiness is an inner type of happiness. But an inner type of happiness doesn't depend on external factors. It depends on our mind, on the state of our mind. And then contentment, it can be a way of expressing happiness. But contentment, the way that we see nowadays, it stays as long as the conditions are there. And then the conditions change, the contentment goes.
Being
Right?
contentment no matter what's happening.
That's it. And then we need to understand the contentment no matter what happened, as Hernani said. But then Hernani said, very good. Yes, but then something still comes and bother us. We still get angry, right? We still get anxious. We still need to do something, and then we become a little bit, we cannot sleep, or we kind of like go to Instagram and all of that. We still go to kind of like, oh no, I need an extra large pizza today, because I work it so well. And then, you start to see like that. That's the mind, is that you kind of like see contentment is actually, it's like an adaptation of what is actually happening. So we can feel balanced again. Right? Makes sense what I'm saying?
Venerable,
Yeah.
there's a question in the Zoom. So is happiness the opposite of suffering?
Very good, Sherry. So now my question to you is, what is suffering? Define suffering, and then we can see if we define happiness. What is suffering?
Sherry, if you want to unmute yourself,
Tell me if you
feel
want to.
free
Yes.
to do that.
I think suffering can come in all different forms. So I don't think it's necessarily a concrete something you can define. I think it's different for everybody. But I also think it's when things are not the way you want them to be.
Yes. But then, is this suffering created outside or inside?
I think it can go both ways.
Okay, very good. And then in what way?
So that's a
What
good.
is the what is the deciding factor? What is going to decide if suffering is happening or
Maybe in
not?
how you look at it, maybe your perspective on it.
Good. Very good. Very good. So then that means that suffering and happiness Are they a choice?
Yes, they can coincide, can they not?
Is it a
You can
choice?
still
Can
be
I
happy
choose?
if you're suffering with something.
Mhm, mhm. Very good. Very, very good.
Mhm.
Wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the same thing, that like it's
The mindset. You have a choice.
people do that. That's very cliche, but the glass.
Half empty or half the glass is either half empty or half full. So it's depending on the perspective. Yes.
Rises.
Suffering arises from the resistance of the present moment. Why we would resist the present moment then if we know it brings suffering?
Pleasant for us to experience for whatever reason.
It's unpleasant to what?
Experience it for whatever reason.
Very good. Whatever reason. Yes.
It's like we speak objects and situations that we think will shift our energy into away from agitation. But if you thought like going to Hawaii would make you miserable, you wouldn't want to go. So
Yes.
it's not the object or person that
It's the perception then. Is that what you're saying? It's not the object, but it's true. But like Nana last week, she was talking about that, like, even though we know that watching Netflix for 5 hours straight will not bring us happiness, we still do it. And we are doing it because we want to relax or to have some sort of kind of like, I'm getting a bit like more relaxed. But actually, I ended up coming out as a zombie, right? So feeling 10 times worse than that. Right, Nana? We talked about that, right? Remember? So that's what we do. So what discerns what is good or bad? It's our wisdom, right? It has to have our wisdom, no? And the mind is our wisdom. So then we need to understand what it is. And that is exactly the path of the Buddha. The path of the Buddha is about getting understanding of how you work, how your mind works, so you can transform it. And then understanding that the outside objects that we look for in order to bring us this happiness that we want, they don't bring what we actually want. They bring pleasure, they bring satisfaction, they bring contentment. But because they are ever changing, that means that they change moment by moment, they can never bring us the type of happiness we are all longing for, which is one that never goes away. So it's a permanent contentment, let's say like that. Okay? But a contentment that understands where it comes from, that understands that is not just a perception that this is like this or this is like that. Yes, this helps. But if your mind is not in the right moment, as we all have, sometimes you're not in a good mood, you're not going to see and perceive that whatever that person is telling you is not to attack you. It's actually maybe coming from wanting to help. You understand? So the perception needs to come from an understanding. And that is what the Buddhist path is about. Because the Buddhist path starts to look into understanding our mind and understanding how things work. And that relation is going to bring us pleasure, satisfaction, right? And that's okay. So it's very important to really say that Buddha's path is not about letting go and stop eating chocolate or stopping eating ice cream or stopping eating like this. This is a disclaimer that I have to do it, because when you see me eating pizza, you don't think that I am a bad monk. Well, I am a bad monk. I am a bad monk, but not because I'm eating pizza, okay? For you to understand that stopping these pleasures doesn't mean that you're gonna be happy, that you're gonna achieve that happiness within yourself. Not about that. That is very important, because that is what we call renunciation. When we're going to talk about renunciation, that's what the Buddha was talking about. We are not renouncing the objects, even though sometimes we do need to renounce the object in order to help us renounce the mind, the perception that is wrong. Because it's that perception, the wrong view that thinks that eating chocolate will bring us happiness, that is wrong. It's not the chocolate or chocolate. Okay? Chocolate has nothing to do with it. It's the wrong view that we are talking about here. Because once we start to understand the wrong view, we need to start to understand then two aspects of it. One aspect is seeing how this wrong view creates suffering for ourselves, how engaging into this wrong view, how allowing these wrong views to actually be continuing our minds and we following them, it creates suffering, and how this wrong view stop us from developing our good qualities. Do you understand? So these two aspects are the aspects of the mind that we have right now. And these two things are going to bring us to that happiness, long-lasting happiness that we want. Make sense? Did you understand what I just said? Yes, Bob.
About the third aspect of not causing suffering to others.
This comes on the second moment. Okay? Because first we need to understand, and that is very important. It's very good that you asked that, Bob, because the wanting not to cause suffering for others needs to only can in reality exist and not a wrong view of our minds if we understand our own suffering and we understand our own potential. If we don't get there, forget about truly practicing compassion towards others. It's going to be just a mind game of the Olympic Games. Validation. Look at me, how I am a good person. That's why the steps of the path to enlightenment, as we talk about it in Buddhism, we can define in three: renunciation, bodhicitta, and then the right view. Right? Because we can only develop compassion, and that is exactly what I was going to talk about, is that I can only feel compassion towards others and feel them exactly the same as me if I allow myself to understand my suffering and understand how I'm not developing my qualities to be happy. If I do that, if I actually get in touch with this inside of myself, then life starts to actually happen. Then the path starts to happen. For that, we need to first look into our lives. That's why the Buddha started with the first teachings. And that's why some people said that the Buddha was a little bit depressed, because he started to say, the first truth, the first teachings of the Buddha was the Four Noble Truths. And the first truth, he said, life is suffering. And then you are like, what? What do you mean by that? How does it mean? What does it mean? And to be honest, I always feel that we need to understand that. We need to understand where and how this suffering happens. Otherwise, we lose track of the entire rest of the Noble Truths. And we need to understand that what causes us suffering is not the chocolate, having the chocolate or not having the chocolate. What is? It's our non-control and non-understanding of our mind. Because when I say to you guys, let's meditate or think about something positive, it's so hard, right? It's just difficult. Or if I come to you here and I say, oh, I need to have a talk to you because you were accused of robbing, of stealing something from the center. What is your first initial feeling of me? I didn't do that, right? It immediately automatically, without any effort. It's a tightness, it's a suffering, right? And I didn't do anything. I didn't physically did anything to you. I only said, are we going to talk about it? So I didn't even say if it is true or not. The feeling, the experience is already there of suffering. You understand what I mean? You recognize that? You recognize what I'm saying? That is very important to recognize. And we do that all the time. We are doing this again and again and again and again and again and again with things. And there's, I can remember who told that today, but said, well, you know, it's when we don't get what we want. But then, do you have any control about what actually you want? Do you really check? The other day we were discussing, and that one of our friends here, Jack, he said that he got very pissed off one day when he woke up and he was doing his breakfast and he didn't have raisins. And then if you think about it, raisins. But what he was trying to say is that I always had something and then suddenly I don't have it. So that shakes my head, disturbs my mind. So to understand what happiness is, we need to understand what is disturbing us. Because what happiness will be, it will be when we take out these disturbances. But then we can think about it. Oh, this is just then the opposite of suffering. Yes, in some ways this could be. But then the Buddha, he said, but does this actually brings full happiness, complete happiness? No, there's something missing. When I take the disturbances and I just kind of like, I'm looking for, I don't have any more problems. I only have peace of mind. Yes, I'm peaceful, but I'm yet not fully, completely happy because I'm not thinking about others. As happiness comes by thinking about others. And then we need to completely develop ourselves. We start to want to completely transform in an unconditional, unlimited way our good qualities. Right? Because we all have good qualities right now. We are all kind, loving, compassionate, patience, right? Patient, well, some sort of patience. You know, we all have that. But right now it's a limited way. It's limited by these disturbances of our minds. So because we want to get rid of these disturbances, our positive qualities, they are kind of like limited because they are like, I know, I just want to be patient enough until I get what I want. And then I stop there. And then I lose the opportunity to developing and finding that happiness that never goes away. Makes sense? Are we communicating? Yes? That's very important. Because it's very important that when we are learning about something, that we understand what the words mean. And that is the beauty of Buddhism, because even though I'm here talking about these things, you all need to experience what I'm saying. Doesn't matter. I can be here saying whatever it is, that if you don't understand, if you don't experience by yourself, it's not going to make sense. But then comes the good thing, which is we all have the potential to do it. We all have this potential. Right here, right now. We have the potential to eliminate our disturbances, eliminate whatever it is shaking and, creating a negative experience, a suffering, painful experience in our minds. And we have the potential to then develop our good qualities in ways that is completely nuts for us now to think about it. We cannot even think about how much we can develop, how we can love every single person, animal, whatever else there is in this world, in a way of complete, without attachment, without clinging, without wanting something in return. Wow. Yes, Tia, you had a question.
What again is it that we're renunciating?
We are renouncing our mental sufferings. That's what we are renouncing. And that's why we need to understand that they are the causes for our disturbances, right? Which is when I don't get what I want. And that is what is so limited in our view right now. It's like what we want might be just having food or just going from A to B, right? And then because we think that this is happiness, right? So we are looking for that. So everything that we do, that's also very important to understand. Everything that we do is because of that. So we are not bad people. It's very important. You are not bad people. Even the people who are killing others, even the people who are doing bad things to others, they are not bad people. They are doing it with the wrong concepted view that this is going to bring them happiness. That is hard to understand, but it is. Because if we look inside of our minds, we see that we are doing that all the time. We think that this is going to break. We think that watching Netflix, be staying hours on our phones or doing this or that is going to help us. And it doesn't. But we still do it. Right? You understand what I'm saying? So who are we to judge and to think that we are just better? No. When we see things like that, only compassion can come. If we understand our state of mind, if we acknowledge our state of mind, if we really see the sufferings of our own mind, how we are completely blah, 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 blah. So we want to A to B, and then we think when anything comes in between coming to go to A to B, or having this and the chocolate, and or this and the pizza, or this and the person that we like, everything that comes in between creates suffering. When attachment doesn't get what we want. The problem is that attachment is a mistaken view, is a wrong view of how things are. Why? Because attachment is projecting qualities, making something beautiful, which is not in that way. Is it beautiful, but not in that way? So then we suffer because of that. Make sense? So then because of these sufferings, as we always say, the negative, we need to understand the negative sides of why us looking for this temporary happiness brings, right? That's what we need to understand. We need to understand. Then we start to analyze. Once we start to understand that there are two different types of happiness, that we have a happiness that it is based on just the temporary pleasures, that they're going to go away and all of that, that's fine. There we are very good at finding this, you know? That there is another type of happiness, that it is the absence of our negative emotions. And not only the absence, but it's full of our own good qualities in an unconditional and unlimited way. Wow. I want that. I want that. When we start really to work towards that. And that will mean that we're going to have to make decisions. Decisions that are going to be, I might not get the immediate answer now and the immediate pleasure, but in the long term, it's going to help me to get the stable, long-lasting type of happiness. Makes sense? Yes? Makes sense what I'm saying? You had a question, Alex, at some point? No? Yeah. So that is what we need to start working in our minds. We need to start working on understanding how the negative emotions, how the negative disturbing of the mind happens. And we need to start seeing the good qualities and say, oh, if I actually meditate on compassion and I try to bring compassion into my daily lives, my life becomes better. But only doing that without doing decreasing our negative tendencies, it doesn't work. So it means If I am angry, if I'm thinking about compassion, oh yes, oh, I'm gonna help all people. Oh, yes, I woke up and may everybody be happy and all of that. Very good, right? And then you go out in your day and then you say, see someone, and then you see someone on the street and you say, oh, this person, oh, let me give you these. Or you see someone that needs help to in the supermarket and you go and you pick up, especially the like tall people, oh, you pick up something and something like that. You do something nice to people. You feel good, the other person feels good. Very good. But then you are on your way home and you forgot that you need to do this and someone just drive like a maniac in front of you and you immediately get disturbed. So where was that compassion and that happiness? Where did it go? Right? You understand what I mean? So then we need to do these two jobs. We need to develop this compassion, but then we need to understand that until we don't eliminate completely these negative mindsets, forget about the compassion staying. Forget. It's not gonna happen. You can meditate on, there's a very beautiful meditation called metta meditation or love and kindness meditation, that you kind of like emanate love and kindness towards everybody. Very good, very important. But if you don't think about it, how being angry is no good for you and for others, forget. You understand here? It's very important. These two aspects that we're going to need to all the time be doing in the Buddhist path. So that's why it's so kind of like dynamic, right? And that's what we call about when we are talking about, for those that are a bit more in the Buddhist path already for a while, what we call purification practices. Purification practices means we try to decrease our negative tendencies, right? So that's why we did prostrations now. What a prostration help us decrease our pride. I know everything. I know how to do it. Don't worry, Buddha. I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to listen to anything. I know what to do. You understand? That type of mindset that we have sometimes, that I have everything under control. And if you do have everything under control, then how come that things still fall apart and you still suffer and you actually realize that you don't have the control? So this is preliminaries. Preliminaries helps us to decrease our negative tendencies. So we're doing prostrations to someone that has done a work that has who is better than us in this work. Okay? And his work is what? Help us to become like him. That helps the mind decrease our pride. Make sense? So that is what we call preliminary practices. They decrease our negative tendencies. And then we have what we call accumulation of merits. Merits. What does it mean, merits? Buddhism, I love, and especially I think the first translators, they were very academical people, because they use these word merits. Merits means positive qualities, positive mindset. So it's exactly what I was saying. Then we do practices that enhance our positive qualities that we all have. And we all can do it. We can do it on a daily life. So you don't need to do that. What I'm trying to say to you is that if you understand this, you can create in your daily life ways to develop this. You will be your own boss. You just need to understand that. And then you're going to say, wait a minute. If I am doing this, I'm going to get more attached. Why am I doing this? Or have I today thought about others? Have I opened my heart? Had I like practiced patience? Have I practiced this or that? No. Okay, so let me do that. You understand? It doesn't become more something out there, or when I come to the Buddhist center, then I am, doing this. No, I'm practicing. Practice becomes your life. Everything that you do. Everything can become practice. Everything is practice. It depends on us to check how we can use it, how we cannot use it, what it can actually be. Because for you, as My friend said here, I can remember who said, sometimes eating the chocolate is going to be for you a practice. Sometimes not eating the chocolate is going to be a practice. Look at the freedom you have. It's you, with your mind. No one else to judge. I'm not going to be here saying, oh, have you eaten the chocolate? Have you eaten the chocolate this week or not? Did you not eat it? I'm not going to do that. The Buddha's not going to do that. You need to decide. Then it becomes free. Becomes like a freedom that, oh, that I want, that I can do. That is what we need. We need to understand that enlightenment, that wish to achieve that state needs to come from us, and we need to want that. That is so important. We need to want that. Yes, Tia.
I was thinking that sometimes it's very hard to to feel like you have a choice. Like if someone has a compulsion, it's with the chalk.
Yes, hard. It's hard to
And then you get to feel bad, So how do we increase our choice?
So what you're saying that is sometimes it feels that we don't have a choice. It's just too strong, right? The habit, the habitual pattern, the habitual tendency of eating the chocolate when, yes.
Yeah.
I have a monk friend that he used to say that if he has a chocolate in his house, he cannot go to sleep until he eats it. If he has the chocolate, if he has a chocolate in his house, inside of his house, he cannot go to sleep without eating it. He has to eat the chocolate before he goes to sleep, because otherwise he feels very anxious about it. You see, I totally understand what it is. The thing is that this method that I'm saying about decreasing our negativities and increasing our positive qualities is the only is the method. So for that, we're going to need to observe and analyze and check the defects, the flaws, or the negative outcomes, results of following this compulsion. If we don't see the bad aspect of it, very hard for us to do it. And not only this, but if we see it how this is a hindrance from us to sharing the chocolate with those that we love, and this creating that feeling of goodness for ourselves and to the others, if we don't see those two, it's going to be very hard. Very hard. Because it's almost like the mind is just habituated. The mind in some ways is the brain, especially in these but the mind as well, it's just creating that habitual tendency and increasing that habitual tendency again and again and again the more we do it. So we need to understand, wait a minute, every time that I eat the chocolate and I can't stop it, I feel sick, my sugar levels go high, I actually become beating myself, because I did it again, and all of the, that feeling. So why do I want to experience that? So you need to start doing like this. And then if you think like in this way, you're going to start thinking about like, okay, I'm not going to go and check even chocolate when I go to the supermarket because I know the result of that. So for a few months, years, maybe you're going to not check the chocolate session. Okay. And then you're going to start to see that, yes, okay, when I'm not eating the entire chocolate or not having chocolate, I have time to bake a cake and I can share with others. And look how nice it is. I bring cake to all my friends at the Buddhist center. Just a hint, okay? So so you say, oh wow, and everybody's so happy and everybody's super good. So you start to see the benefits of it until one moment that it's going to be second nature. You don't. And then what you can do, you can go and eat the chocolate again. You understand? If it is strong. If it is strong enough, then the chocolate doesn't have any more control under you. Right? The problem is that what happens in these cases is that we think we have control. Because the mind is very tricky, very cheeky, very cheeky. And it's like, no, 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 I'm totally done that. I don't want to. I don't need chocolate. And then someone opens it, just the smell already starts activate, right? And then we take just the first little square and then it's gone. We eat everything like a raccoon going in the dustbin, like that. Then it's gone. So that means that our strong, how do we say, correct, like our understanding of it was not strong enough. You understand?
Yeah.
It was not strong enough. So that's why in Buddhism we say that we need to do this life after life after life. Why? Because right now we have been thinking that chocolate has been the cause of our happiness for too many lifetimes. So it is difficult because of that. But with time it becomes easier. Especially with things that we don't have control. Like for example, I don't know, we need to live our lives and then not getting angry at others. Anger still arises, but it becomes like it comes and it stays. Instead of staying 3 weeks with us on a loop of hatred and this person, and every time you see that person you again, and again and again. It stays 10 minutes, or sometimes 1 minute, or sometimes you see it coming and you laugh at yourself and you see that you're going to be angry and then you say, okay, let go. Until you go beyond that, until you really go and you understand how things exist, the right view of things. When you start to understand that perception, because why we suffer, why we have that kind of like anger, why we think that because we think that there is some chocolate and some deliciousness from the side of the chocolate. We believe that there is a deliciousness, a satisfaction that comes from the chocolate. It's never there. Because if it was in the chocolate, that means that every single person in this room and every single person in this universe would have to eat that chocolate and say, it is delicious. And as we know, it doesn't work like that. Do you understand that? That is the wrong view. The wrong view is that we project qualities and we project situations into the objects that they don't have. And then we suffer. Expectation, reality, boom, suffering. So if you see reality, there's no expectation. That's why we need to see reality. That is the most important aspect of the Buddhist path. And that's why I'm saying that when you start to understand the suffering of your mind, the negative tendencies, and you start to understand how the positive intentions, the positive qualities work, you are seeing reality. This is a work on reality. Because you start to understand that these negative tendencies, they are not one with your mind. You're not angry all the time. They're changing, right? Yeah, you get angry sometimes, but you're not angry all the time. So that means if they are not angry all the time, that means that they can not be there at all. Make sense? Because they're just passing. So if they're just passing, we can arrive to a state that they don't pass anymore. That is what we want. And the good quality is that, compassion. How does compassion is based in reality? Well, all of this temporary happiness, all the chocolate that you want to have in the world, depends on people. People going and picking up the cacao, I don't know where in the world, in Brazil or another place in Peru, then people bringing it, then people using it, then people mixing it with a lot of sugar, then people putting it, And then the sugar comes from where? From sugar cane. Oh, we need to plant, we need to do this, and we need to do that. Oh, and then who's transporting this? Oh, and so all of these that you actually want is based on the compassion and kindness of others. So you feeling compassion and kindness is based in reality. You don't need to reality as a just observe life, and then you can do that, and you can check. Make sense what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, that if you start to investigate the qualities and how the good qualities you can enhance and you can transform because they're based in reality, the same thing with the negativities. If you start to see that the negativities are coming because I'm the one projecting a wrong view into the objects, then life becomes easier. So that's why I say understanding. That's why this book is called Freedom Through Understanding. We need to understand so we can really find that happiness, long-lasting happiness that we want. Yes.
I was just thinking about how, this starts at such a young age. Like if you ask a little kid, "Here, I'm going to give you this candy and you're going to share it with your friend."
Yes.
The automatic response is no way,
No.
or crying,
Mine.
or whatever. And so
Yes.
who's taught them to be selfish? Nobody yet, right?
Yes. No.
It's already in them.
That's it. It's what we say in Buddhism is that it's the wrong view. It's kind of like our automatic state. It's just who we are, but it's not who we have to continue to be. Understand? And that is the beauty of it, because actually, once we transform it, once we let it go of the selfishness, totally, we cut the causes for it to appear in our mind, it never comes back. So then, if it never comes back, it means that we found that happiness. It will never go back again. So there's no way for us. It's almost like if you don't have a seed, then there's no tree that's going to come. That's it. And that is what the happiness that it can be done. Because that they don't have the causes, therefore we cannot experience suffering. And then we can only continue to develop our qualities because we already have. So our lives become meaningful. What is the meaning of our lives? Continue developing our qualities until we can help everybody. It's amazing. It's like forget about having the happiness of the temporary happiness. Forget about that. If you take this from your mind and you feel that the only thing that I want in this life is to develop my qualities, perfect my compassion, perfect my patience, perfect my love, perfect my, because love means I want everybody to be happy. Compassion means I want everybody to be free from suffering. If I develop and perfect these, my life. And life can become so purposeful and meaningful. That's it. That is what in Buddhism we say, that is the meaning of life. We sometimes ask ourselves, what is the meaning of life? What do we have in life? What is the meaning of life? That is the meaning of life in Buddhism. You perfect you become free from your sufferings so you can perfect your qualities to help others to do the same. How amazing that would be. Everybody being the same, free from their sufferings and perfecting their qualities. Thank you for the question. Yes, dear.
To back up on that, I wonder sometimes you'll see little kids and one child will say, mine, mine. And then you see the other child who will say, oh, do you want this? And will share. And I observe it. I wonder, why is the one child saying, that's mine, and grabbing it? And the other child is being so compassionate.
The easy,
Okay,
the easy answer is karma, but it's not. It's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. Karma is not that. It's like you need to understand first. To understand that is understand the mind, because actually the result of this is the mind. It's not karma. The mind is. I will explain. The mind is beginningless. Okay. So that means that the mind works on a also changing moment by moment. Okay? So that means that the present moment depends on the previous moment. You following me? Yeah. So the present moment, we only exist now because we had the present moment, the past moment. Okay. And then this past moment depends on the previous moment. That 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 depends on the previous moment. Very easy to see in this way. So we just see it that the mind, there's no beginning. It just goes, just continues. Previous moment, previous moment, previous moment, previous moment. And then we say, from the previous moment of this life, it came from another life. And then it had another life, and then from another life, from another life, from another life. So the mind, because it is beginningless, and because it's cause and effect, because there is the possibility of, the previous moment creates the next moment, that means it has the possibility of bringing information with it from one moment to the other. Okay? And because it brings that information, that means that habituates itself. That's what they will call karma. So karma is nothing more than cause and effect. That means habituation. You do something, and you bring with yourself to the next moment. It's like memory, right? Memory is the perfect example. Memory means the previous moment created the present moment because I'm thinking about the previous moment, right? So that's a memory. Yes, that's the same. So we say that these tendencies that we have, whatever we have in this life, if you want to know about your past life, you look at your present life and you see your tendencies. So these tendencies were not created when you were born, the Buddhist explanation will say. It will be because you accumulated, you habituated yourself time after time after time after moment and after life after life after life, right? So that means that when the conditions come together, that habituation comes out. So let's say that you have been an animal, you have been a human being, you have been many different like lives in this life, in this existence, right? So when you become a human being again, and you have the tendency to think about me, that's what is going to come up. But some kids, they in previous life, they habituated themselves with being kind. So that means that they are kind. You know, there's these very nice little movies where people actually talk about kids that show that they don't want to eat meat anymore, right? Have you watched these things? It's very nice. Little kids like 3, 4 years and say, why are we eating the little chicken? But the little chicken, we need to kill it and it's gonna suffer. We have, you know, people that don't have that understanding, adults. So it cannot be that in 3 years that person developed that understanding. It doesn't make sense, right? Logically speaking, doesn't make sense. So that is just habituation. And then once you understand that it's just habituation, then you can just relax, right? You say, it's just habituation. I'm gonna do like her. I'm gonna just see the faults of this habituation, see that this habituation doesn't help me, create suffering. I'm just gonna try to not engage into it anymore, and I'm gonna try to use something positive to replace it. Let me think about compassion, love, kindness, patience, you know, all of this, generosity. Then you go like that. Yes.
So just based on that, like our daughter, when she was born, I'm vegan, and he wasn't vegan. We had a conversation like, how are we gonna raise our child? He wanted her to experience trying different things and 100% vegan.
You did that one.
So that's what we did. We let her try things from what I would eat. He would have her try things. And then she got food poisoning. And it was a really bad experience. And then a little bit after that, we were at a birthday party or something with a petting zoo. And she connected animal to food on her own. She said, Mommy, what is it? She was watching little chickens run around. She said like, Mama, is that a chicken, like chicken?
Yeah, the chicken that Dad eats.
Yes. And she looked upset. And then she asked me, what is what is steak? And I said, it's a cow. And she said, why would I want to eat my animal friends? And she's never, ever again.
Wow. Very good. Yes,
My,
yes, yes.
my feelings about
Yeah.
it at all.
Yes, very nice. This is a perfect example of how habituation works.
Well, compare that to my sister-in-law. Her 2-year-old child just decided they didn't want to eat meat from a family of carnivores.
Yes, exactly. Him as well, 2 years old.
So
You
then
see?
2, 3, and 4 didn't like to eat meat. Eventually, the family of carnivores and the child, they started eating meat together. But it was a few years, no interest in meat.
No interest in meat. Yes, very nice.
There's a funny clip from Parks and Recreation where the guy brings this big pig to the picnic, and they all go, "Oh, it's so cute. What's your name? What's your name?" And he said, "Oh no, this is our dinner tonight." And they said, "What? There's kids here. How can you talk like that?" And he went and talked really violently about what they were going to do for the barbecue. And they said, "That's terrible." So it made it funny, but he said, "Well, this is what you guys wanted." So when people see it and they realize, wow, this pig is
Becomes stronger.
intelligent and kind and cute, and he said it's just like a dog or a cat. They told him he was so cruel, but then they'll do it if they are thinking about it or if they don't see it or meet it beforehand.
Yes, 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 yes. That's very valid because that's exactly how the more we actually connect with that understanding, no? And we connect with the animal and we connect with the situation, the more we actually connect. And that is why it's so hard sometimes for us because we need connection. We need to have, and His Holiness always says, we are, he says we are, what is the word that he uses? Social beings, right? We are interconnected. We depend, everything that we have, all the food we have, all the shelter of the things that we have, depends on others, right? So it's just, if we understand that reality, that interdependence, then it becomes easier to not hurt.
Sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting. Yeah, there's a question online. So are there questions that we can ask ourselves that will help us determine right view? And I guess
View,
this
yes.
was when we were talking back on compassion, I
On numbers,
guess.
yes. Okay, so that's a very good question. So that's a good thing. So the first thing that we can ask, what the right view is, that there are many ways, but of course, because it depends on the situation, but we can always ask ourselves is, am I getting more attached? Am I getting more kind of like whatever it is that I'm doing, is this helping me to decrease my attachment? Is this helping me to really calm the mind? This is very important. Because one of the most important questions that we need to ask ourselves is, what is the trade-off I'm doing here? I'm looking for instant pleasure, or I'm looking for a calm, peaceful, long-lasting mind? That, I think, cuts 99% of our decisions. Because normally we are interested only in the instant pleasure, right? So this is very important. And then you can ask yourself, okay, is this gonna help others as well? How does this help me helping others? That's a better question. How is this helping me to help others? And you can start seeing, because all of this is based on understanding the interconnection of ourselves, right? And understanding that understanding our mind, understanding the interdependence of how we live and experience things. That is what we need to understand. And the most important way of doing it is that we need to study a bit more, understanding a bit more how things work, understand how things are impermanent, how things are ever changing, that things are not permanent as we see them, things that we're gonna die, right? We need to check these things. We need to check, that, oh, if we do things in a way that we're just thinking about ourselves, is it really like bringing me happiness when I only think about myself, right? All of these questions, these questionings that studying, they bring this doubt into the wrong view. So asking yourself, so to ask yourself the right questions, you need to study a bit more. This will give you the possibility of asking. And that's what I say that meditation is about. And this is so like nice, because meditation is like right now we see things like this, you know, we don't even see it, it's just glued in our mind. Meditation starts to bring us a bit of space, and then help us to see in different ways, from different points of view, from different angles. And then we can see, is it really like that? It exists like this? Is it really like it is? And this will bring us the freedom from that. Right? Makes sense? That is what we can actually do throughout these meditations, following the, you know, the teachings and meditating and contemplating, all of this. So this is the way that we can do it. Okay? I actually had a question for you guys, but I don't think we're gonna have time. So next week.
What was the question? At least leave it.
So the question is, what does it really mean to help someone? Okay? Based in what we just discussed, that is very good, because it's based on what we discussed. What does it mean to help someone? Because I wanted to talk about renunciation and talk about this, and then I wanted to start talking about bodhicitta, but of course I didn't get there. To talking more about compassion, right? Because as I said, as you asked, Bob, once we understand the situation we are in, and we start to look around, we start to see everybody's on the same boat. Everybody's experiencing the same uncontrolled, deluded minded, the wrong views, and having their anger control them, right? Disturbing their mind. So I need to help them. So then when compassion comes, sorry, dear. What did you say?
What is helping or what is wisdom?
Yes, what is helping? So that you're gonna tell me this is a good way of, is already in a good path, your way of thinking. Now we can, no, now we need to finish, because otherwise, and I didn't do the prayers today again. No, I'm so sorry. No,
No refuge today.
no refuge. Well, we took refuge. We took refuge in different ways today. Today we took refuge in the right teachings, in the teachings, in listening to the teachings.
Which
Oh
is maybe
my
even
God.
better.
Well, which is the ultimate refuge that we need.
There we go.
So we didn't create, well, we did create the right motivation. That's the most important. And then we can dedicate. So in Buddhism, we always say is that once we finished an activity, well, it's very good. Bless you. When we always have like the motivation, so that helps us to get a result that is positive, then we need to fuel that result, fuel that experience that we just created, to make sure that it continue creating positivity. Okay, that's the idea. So it's like when we are kind of like planting a seed, we open it, you know, we open the hole because we want to plant a seed. So then the action, so this is the motivation. We want to plant a good seed. So we're gonna take out the hole, we're gonna open, and we're gonna put the seed. And then throughout the activity, we just like, you know, put water and all of that. But then if we just keep it like this, we don't close it, the hole, then it doesn't sprout. So that's what we are trying. We're trying to close it, to seal it, but with a good intention. We seal it with the intention that I want this good seed to come up, to sprout. That's what we do. So we're dedicating this way. Dedication, it's a way to say, okay, so whatever we heard here today, whatever we talked, whatever we did, whatever we contemplate, whatever we question ourselves, whatever we doubt, whatever we wrote down, whatever we thought about, whatever we didn't say, you know, may all of these, because it was the intention to help ourselves, to develop our body, to develop our mind, to open our hearts, may it achieve this end. And for that, may we continue to using everything that we did now to help us throughout our days. Okay? That's what we try to do. We try to create that intention, that dedicating that intention, that everything that we do it for this end. To continue nourishing that. Okay? I'm gonna do that. So no prayers today. None. I'm so sorry. That's why. Now you can say I'm a bad monk. That is bad monk.
No.
Now you can say that. So thank you so much. I hope to see you next Sunday. So next Sunday is our last week that I'm here. Well, that I'm gonna give doing these teachings online here, and then because the following Sunday on the 25th, I think, we're gonna have one of a Geshe. Geshe means that he has a PhD in Buddhist philosophy. So it's much better. You guys finally will have a good karma to listen to someone that knows something. So but he's gonna be filling our statues with mantras, with things, and all of that, which is a very beautiful thing. And we're gonna do a consecration puja that day. So we're gonna do a prayer together, and he's gonna do a few talk a little bit. So you're all invited to come as well. But next week we still have blah 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 with me. Okay?
Are you still gonna be in this area?
No, I'll go, but I will try to do some teachings online. Yes, online I will do it. Yes. Well, it depends on if they want me to come back or not. Let's see, but yes, yes. I know I'm not the one good monk. I agree. I also think of that. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Venerable. That was wonderful. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
online.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hernani, you should come here. You don't have excuse. You live very close by.
I have new
por causa disso.
Thank you, everybody. It was